Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be participating in this month's Aussie YouTube Hop for the month of February. The theme this month is Beautiful Australia, and today I'm making a spirit animal muse doll. Our group consists of 13 talented ladies who come together and share their craft and art with you in the hopes of inspiring you to pull out all your supplies and play. Can't wait to see how all the other girls have interpreted this month's theme. Don't forget to hop along and see their creations. I'll leave a link in the description box below for the next person after me. Check out her project, like it, comment it, and go through her description box to find the person who's next in the list. If you get lost along the way, I'll leave a link to everyone's YouTube channel so you can check out all the projects who've participated this month. If you feel inspired to play, please tag us along using the hashtag Aussie Hops on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to check your work out. We've also got a Facebook group we'd love you to join and share your art. So come along and hang out with us. So this is the project that I'm going to be completing today, and I'm making this spirit animal cockatoo muse doll. Now for those of you who've been on my channel before, you know that I've been taken by these muse dolls that I've been creating, and they've all been human-like forms. But I decided that I could actually do this and make it into an animal form instead. So check out the muse dolls in my video link, and it goes into more detail on how to put them together. The process is very much the same. Basically what I did was logged on to the computer and looked for a really simple printout of a cockatoo, or a pattern of a cockatoo. Looking at kids' drawing pages are really handy to do, and use an animal that you like, that you want to have. And I've just cut it out of mat board, and I've cut the comb of the cockatoo separately from the body, and I've made the bottom of the cone a little bit deeper so that I can attach that onto the back. So once I've got that pattern made up, I just made the stand, and all I did was put some foam into a little paper mache box and punch some holes through for my skewers to sit in. So that's going to be the stand that it's all going to sit on. Now what I'm creating is the collage papers that I'm going to cover my doll with. And for this I'm using some old encyclopedia paper and some watercolors, and I'm deliberately choosing earthy colors that remind me of Australia, of the outback, of the bush. So those ochres and browns and deep reds and greens. And all I've done is sort of just put these patchy bits of colour down. And the watercolours I'm using are designed by Rachel Beth, or that set. They're all handmade watercolours, but you could use any watercolours to do this. And then all I'm going in over the top with similar colour palette is just lots of random splodgy, grungy stamps. So just to create an interesting background. Now with this, it doesn't matter if it's all patchy or it doesn't quite make sense, because it's going to be cut up and used in some slightly different ways. And what I'm going to do is take this away, scan it into my computer, adjust the colours a little bit, and print it out onto sticker paper. So I'm going to have sticker paper for the base of this that's going to be the same as what's going to be on the body, but I'm going to use the actual original paper on the body just to make it look more realistic. The other thing is, because I'm using the metallic paints on this, when you scan it in, obviously you lose that metallic edge to it, so I really want those metallics to sort of pop through, and you can see them on screen as you're going. The Rachel Beth metallics are like liquid metal when you use them. They're amazing. So it is a real shame when you scan it into your computer that you lose that. So as I'm going along, I'm drying off the layers, and now I'm going in with some of the white squid ink, which is from Jane Davenport. It stands up really well to doing lots of mixed media, because it's a hybrid ink as well. It acts like a permanent ink, but also like a pigment ink, so it sort of sits on top of everything. One of the final things I do when I'm making these collage papers is to go back over with some paint pens, just to add in some random marks and details, and to add in some of the bits that may have got lost, for example those stars. So I did outline them with some metallic paint, but now I'm going back in with the yellow just to make them really pop off the page. And again, you know, while it is a bit random, they're all things that sort of remind me of Australia. So, you know, having the stars there for the Southern Cross, having those greens of the bush, and having those reds of the desert, which is really strange from a girl who's sitting in Tassie. But we have those colours around here too. It's really unusual that, you know, you can go half an hour down the street and or into the country and see those colours popping up. So this is the page that I scanned in and adjust the colours. I made the colours more red on the base when I printed it out deliberately. So it looks, while it's the same, it looks slightly different. I also wanted to make it more red, so when I put the green grass against it, it really stands out. So what I'm doing now is putting the holes in for the skewers. That's going to support the body of the bird. And I'm just tearing up the collage paper and sticking it on really randomly. I don't mind this torn edges because it sort of all blends in. It doesn't go in any rhyme or reason. And I am sealing the whole box. So the whole entire thing's covered with sticker paper. To seal in the foam that I use as a base. If you don't, it's the magic foam that you use to clean the walls. You can get it really, really cheap in our $2 shop, a huge big sheet of it. Or if you've got some florist foam, that will work really well as well. Because I don't have legs like my original dolls, I decided to double up my skewers so it was a little bit more secure when it was holding the body of the doll. And usually I would use black to cover the stick skewers, but I decided to wrap around some of this green washi tape. And this from the palette set of washi from Jane Davenport. And I like the fact that the greens were multicoloured, so you just had those different shades in it. I'm covering both sides of the chipboard with the washi tape because both sides will be visible, particularly at the top. So you could probably get away with not covering the base, but certainly both sides of the top will be visible. It peeks up above the box. All the bits of washi that the leaves and chipboard that I'm using, I'm covering with the green washi. Again, just sort of pasting it down, using the excess bits to cover over the leaves that are coming over. And personally, I find using a craft knife much easier to cut things out. Some people are really good with scissors. I struggle with them somewhat, especially with very fine, narrow cutting like this. So if you're really good at fussy cutting, go for your scissors. If not, a craft knife you might find will work much better. Make sure it's sharp though. I did have to change the blade before I did this. If it's not sharp, it will perhaps tear your paper or certainly shift it from where you don't want it to be. So it's important that you do that. The other thing is, once you've done one side, trim it out and then cover the other side. Now I'm choosing not to do it with washi but paint. That made it slightly easier. If you don't have different coloured green washies, you could certainly paint these pieces of chipboard. You don't have to use the washi, but I just thought it was a nice alternative look to what I was doing. The other thing that I'm doing is cutting out a piece of the sticker paper that I had left over to cover the back of the, I was going to call it a cockatoo. But don't stick it down to begin with. What I've just stuck down now is I've got some large double-sided tape and I'm using that to tape down the collage paper, the original piece of collage paper, onto the front of my cockatoo. So you can see, again, by using a knife, I'm able to get those nice fine details. So once I've done that, I'm going to go through and add some other decoration to my piece. And this is some Heidi Swap washi tape. I found when I'm doing these dolls, I use a lot of washi to decorate it. It's just really handy, particularly the metallics and the glitter tapes. You can sort of tear them up into really tiny chunks and they just add such a beautiful bit of bling to your piece. And you don't use very much of it up. I tend to get a piece, and it's quite narrow washi tape, but once you tear it up into pieces, you can get lots out of what you've got. So I've got some gold down the bottom that I tore in to sort of try and make the feathers, and then putting some silver over the back as sort of pops of a highlight. And I find that I really like the torn edges. I find if I just put it down in one piece, it just looks a bit blocky for me. So by tearing it up and having that natural torn edge to it, it just gives a little bit more detail to it. So now I'm going in with another Jane Davenport washi tape, which is one of her eyes, which is a bit of a strange bit to this, but it's actually, once I did it, I loved it. So sticking down the eye to make the focus point for my cockatoo. And again, if you didn't have that washi tape, you could certainly use a magazine collage. Go to a magazine, find an eye that suited, and stick that down. So once I'd been using all this washi, I thought, well, why not go with the flow and keep going? So for the comb of the cockatoo, I did exactly the same. I broke into, I think, my Dina Wakley washi tapes and covered the comb of the cockatoo with that. And then I'll turn it over and do the same on the other side as well. So you can see it coming together now. Going back and again with those little bits of offcuts of the silver and gold, sticking those down. And it's really important when you're cutting out the comb of the cockatoo that you do add that little tab extra down the bottom so it can glue onto the back of the head. Really, really important. So you're not going to see all of that comb. You need something to attach it to the body of the cockatoo. So now I'm going in and, oh, I didn't use washi tape. I used the sticker paper. So go in and stick sticker paper down and cut out around it. And this sort of just gives a finish back to it. You don't have to do this step, but I always do it. The reason for that is because it is a 3D piece, people do pick it up and look at the back. So I like to finish the back of my pieces off in some way, shape or form. With the body of the cockatoo, you'll notice when I go in and stick it down that I've got the skewers that I want to cover over, and by having the sticker paper there to glue it down, it just gives it that extra bit of support. So I'm just going in at the moment with some of the Stabilo All Pencil, which is a water soluble pencil, and that gives just some extra detail. When you put the water on, it acts like ink. It just flows beautifully. So I've just put down the extra double-sided tape onto the back of my piece, and I'm just trimming it down. And then I'm going to stick on my skewers. I've stuck them into my box just so I know where I'm going to stick the, or how far up on the box that the body of the doll needs to go. Sorry, I'm trying to get all these words out. I lied. I thought I used sticker paper to do the back of this. I didn't. I actually used the collage paper I made, which I'm really glad I did because it ended up being beautiful. So, but you can see how the process works. If I'd used that sticker paper, I would have cut that out and just stuck it over the top. Basically what it does is it encloses those skewer sticks. So they've got some extra support. Instead of just having tape down there, they're also enclosed by the sticker or the double-sided tape, so they're not going to go anywhere. The comb at the top I'm gluing down using foam tape, so there's a little bit of dimension to it, and that just helps it to sort of stick out from the back as well. And now I'm just going around and trimming off all the extra bits and pieces I need. And now I'm going to glue in the bits and pieces on the front. So as I was doing this, I decided that I needed a few more leaves. So I'm breaking into my very old collections chipboard that have been around for quite a while. I'm sure some of you may have some collections still in your collections of stuff. And doing exactly the same as I did with the other pieces. So using the washi and taping it down. I put that green washi away and thought I picked up the same one, but the other one I picked up has a lot more blue in it. But again, that sort of reminds me of all the beautiful colours that you see around here. So trimming it off in the same way, and then I would paint the backs just like I did the other piece. So nothing's really wasted with this project, and all those bits of washi that you're trimming off, you could stick down on another doll, you could stick down on a collage to blend into the background. You don't really waste anything. So just going in and painting the background, because it's 3D, you can see the foreground and background. People can turn around your Muse dolls and see what's on the back. So just cleaning up, drying off my chipboard, and then starting to glue it all down together. So for this I'm using the red liner tape, which is a double-sided tape, but it's extremely sticky. It's one of the best double-sided tapes I've found, and really good for doing 3D projects like this. It's also a nightmare to try and get that tape off because it's glued down really, really well. So I'm just gluing down the background pieces, so those fine leaves first of all, but I'm using the grass that I've got in front just to have an idea of where I want to have them poking out. And you can see up the top with the bird, I've actually used one of these branches for the bird to be sitting on as well. So just tucking them in, and then I'll use some foam tape to glue down the piece of grass to the front as well. Excuse me. Just so that it's raised up a little bit and has, again, a little bit more interest to it. So with the foam tape, just cut it down and stick it where it needs to be. And that's pretty much it. The final thing that I do is to add a sentiment, and this is one of the Tim Holtz sentiments, and I think it says, "Live gently upon this earth." So this is my final piece for our YouTube hop for February, to celebrate why Australia is beautiful. I think our unique wildlife is the best thing about Australia, and the colours that we have and see every day. We're so lucky. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out all the other wonderful talented ladies in this YouTube hop. You'll find the description, the links to their hops in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.